Hi guys, I'm here today with a book haul and I have a mountain of books. So in my last book haul I promised that I'm gonna do part 2, so this is going to be a part 2, and then I have another bunch of books that I'm gonna include in yet another book haul. So lots of books coming up for you guys. I hope you're reading. If you're not reading, please spend less time on computer or TV and read some books, because what you get from TV or computer is very often rubbish, and what you get from books is often priceless. So guys, I urge you to read more, make yourself a New Year's resolution to read more, and I hope this video will inspire you to do that. So I'm gonna start at the top. This is the book called A Girl with a Pearl Earring. I'm sure that a lot of you have heard about this book or movie already. It's by Tracy Chevalier. And it's basically a story about an artist called Johannes Vermeer who painted the famous portrait of a girl with a pearl earring. I've only watched a movie with Scarlett Johansson. I haven't read the book, obviously, that's why I purchased it. And I'm interested in seeing how the book compares to the movie. I quite like the movie, actually. And it's just a story about the artist and his life, that time period, and the girl who comes into his life. By the way, I got this one in a retro books shop here in Klaipeda, but you can buy it online. But I'm so happy that I got a really good, almost brand new edition from a retro, secondhand bookshop. Another book I got on Books Depository. I'm gonna try and link all of the books that I'm showing you guys down below, so you can buy them if you're interested. This one is by Renee Ahdaya. It's called The Wrath and the Dawn, and I cannot tell you how curious I am about this book, how much I want to read it. I'm like dying with excitement to read this book. And I've watched many reviews on this book on YouTube and read reviews on Goodreads. By the way, I have a Goodreads account. It's always linked below if you're interested. This book received only positive reviews. People were raving about it, and I was like, oh, it must be amazing. This book is based on the story of 1001 Nights, and it's basically about a boy king, a very cruel boy king, which actually immediately reminded me of Joffrey from Game of Thrones. This king kills all his lovers, so a new girl comes to his chamber at night, to please him probably, and every morning they find girls wrapped with a silk cord around their neck, obviously dead, so he kills all of his lovers. And then there's a girl called Shahrazad, which I'm sure is the name that majority of you guys know. Her friend gets killed the night before, and then she comes into his chamber and she seeks revenge for every girl that he has killed. She starts creating stories that enchant him, and this guarantees her survival. So day after day she's telling him stories, so he gets very curious and he doesn't kill her. But one day she realizes that he's not as he seems, and she falls in love with the king, but she still wants revenge for everyone that he has killed, but she's in love with him. So I'm very interested in seeing how the story will evolve and what's gonna happen on the end. Oh, cannot wait to read it. It's a pretty thick book actually, and look at this beautiful image of Shahrazad. How gorgeous is that? So, oh, cannot wait to read it. And look, the cover I think is so beautiful. It has this jacket, which is beautiful. This is The Palace of Curiosities by Rosie Garland. I have another book by the same author called Vixen, which I haven't read yet, but I have tons of books to read. Look at this commentary, a jewel box of a novel. How amazing does that sound? And look at this cover. It's like sparkly with gold, it has a lion and then magical symbols. So it is magical realism. It's about a girl called Eve who is born with a lion's head. And I immediately like that because I'm a Leo myself, and I'm gonna read a little bit about this because I don't know much about this book other than its magical realism and the girl with a lion's head. So, cast out by Victorian society, Eve and Abel find succor from an unlikely source. They soar to fame as the lion-faced girl and the flayed man. Star performance in Professor Josiah Oroner's Palace of Curiosities, and there begins the journey that will entwine their fates forever. I think they're circus performers. I can be wrong, but I think they perform in circus, they become really popular, and maybe they fall in love with each other. I don't know, but it seems like such a magical, interesting book. Okay, another one. These are actually the two books that I got in Paris in my favorite bookshop where I would like to live if I could. This is, I got two like bookmarks, and this is the staircase of the bookshop in Paris. I actually vlogged myself, my boyfriend and Ieva going into this bookshop and getting these books. So if you watch my vlogs from Paris, you will have seen this. But yeah, I just love this place so much, and it has a little stamp here. It's called, by the way, it's called Shakespeare and Company. So it has a stamp here which says Shakespeare and Company, Kilometer Zero, Paris. I just love this place. First of all, the cover is absolutely incredible. It says English magic faces its darkest hour. It's by Zhenchu, and it's called Sorcerer to the Crown. And you guys probably know already that I love magical realism. I love a little bit of fantasy, mystery. I love that kind of thing. I love magic. I've always loved since I was a kid, basically. And it's based in London, and it's about a royal sorcerer. It says he leads the eminent Royal Society of Unnatural Philosophers, but they're trying to remove him. Meanwhile, the society is failing its vital duty to keep magic levels stable within His Majesty's lands. Then he meets a girl who is a sorcerer as well, and together they strive to change the nature of sorcery. So I'm also extremely excited to start reading this book. And another one that I got the same day is by Helen Oyeyemi. Again, not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's called Boy Snowbird. A lot of bookish YouTubers have been talking and raving about this book, so naturally I was very curious to read the book. And I love books that have beautiful language, beautiful sentences. This seems to be one of those type of books. Quite simply a writer of sentences so elegant that they gleam. So again, I don't know much about this book other than it's about a Whitman family who have been hiding a secret for 3 generations, and then boy brings a bird into their home, and the secret is revealed, and I have no idea what the secret is, but I'm curious to find out. And it's about 300 pages, so not a very thick book, and the cover is stunning as well. Another book, again, this one was talked about so much by Jean from Bookish Thoughts. She's my all-time favorite bookish YouTuber, and she loved this book. And I trust her recommendations. She recommends such interesting books. I'm always like, I want to read this and that. I always go book shopping after her videos. And this book is called The Stone Gods by Jeanette Winterson. And again, it has a magical, surreal, fantastical element. It's about a new blue planet. A very sterile, clean, like the perfect planet. It's described as the Earth before humans inhabited it, and it's about 2 people, I think Billy and Spike, and they fall in love with each other. So it says it's an interplanetary love story of Billy and Spike, of the past and the future. Basically, they are on the way to the blue planet, and the question is, will they reach the planet safely? Will they find a safe haven? And I guess it's gonna talk about their love story as well in the way. And I love the cover of it, actually. It has stars, and like, look, you can see the shape of a girl here, and then another shape here. I don't know if you can see that. This is a used book I got on Amazon. I like to buy used books on Amazon, and it even came, you know, with a plastic cover, so it's in a perfect condition, and it was really inexpensive. It was a library edition, so yeah, cannot wait to read it. Another book which I didn't buy myself, but I was kindly sent by one of my viewers. You know who you are, thank you so much. I think it belonged to the friend of her friend, and it belonged to her, and yada yada yada. She said it will find better home in your bookshelf. and it's the magical worlds of Harry Potter. She knows my love for Harry Potter, so that's why she sent it. It's by David Colbert and it's in Lithuanian. It says myths, legends, and interesting facts. So it's a book filled with facts, you know, based on Harry Potter world. For example, which characters are immortal? Are all of the giants evil? What magical power hides in the mirrors? So, you know, it's quite interesting. I mean, it's probably for young adults, not for grown-ups, but who cares? I'm gonna read it with such pleasure, with a cup of tea. And when I showed it to my cousin Linda, she was like, oh, can I read it? I gave it to her, she read it in one day and she gave it back to me the next day. So yeah, I think it's a very quick read. Another book I got is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. A classic book that probably a lot of you have already read or read excerpts from it at school. I know I did. I've read this book already, but you know, haven't showed it in a haul video for you guys. And I'm planning to do a books I've read video as well. This one is in Lithuanian. It's by publisher called Ieva, and their books are just so beautiful. I mean, the covers are gorgeous. I knew I wanted to buy this book, but I was looking for a beautiful cover because I know it's a book that's gonna stay in my, you know, collection for years and generations probably, so I wanted to have a hard copy of it. And oh my god, you guys, I've already mentioned this in my January favorites, how it has become one of my all-time favorite books. If you haven't read it, you absolutely have to read it. It's a book that often falls in the category of dark, twisted stories. It's about a guy of unbelievable beauty called Dorian Gray. One day, an artist, his friend, asks Dorian to pose for him because he wants to paint his portrait. And then as he's done painting the portrait, Dorian falls in love with the, you know, the portrait and the way that he looks in it. And he wishes to stay young forever. He's scared of the thought of ever getting old and wrinkly, and he just wants to stay young and beautiful forever. And that very moment he says, I wish I could stay young forever and my portrait would get old. And this is what happens throughout the book. I don't want to spoil too much for you guys, but it's a story about superficiality, a guy obsessed with beauty, and how he becomes very egocentric and he doesn't care about other people and their lives, and he's just so obsessed with staying beautiful. And you know, like the third half of the book gets very twisted and just horrible. It turns into a horror story pretty much, and it's amazing. I mean, the ending is so amazing and unexpected. I think it's such a creepy yet fantastic idea. I've loved every single page of it. It's a page turner. When you start reading it, you cannot put it down. It's a pretty quick read and you just get immersed into the book and you want to finish, you know, as quickly as possible. So yeah, highly recommend it. And then the last book I got is another classic. This is by Gabriel Garcia Marquez and it's called 100 Years of Solitude. Salman Rushdie, who I think wrote the Children of Midnight, the Midnight Children. It's a book about India, and he said the greatest novel in any language of the last 50 years, which is such a bold claim. And it has a bunch of bold claims on the back. So it says like, the New Yorker Times said, should be required reading for the entire human race. And Carolina Herrera, a designer, said, it's the most magical book I have ever read. Marquez has influenced the world. And I mean, reading bold claims like that, you just have to read this book. And my aunt as well, she said it's one of her, you know, absolute favorite books and a must read. I think it's a book that has lots of different themes: politics, civil war, plague. I haven't done much research on the book at all. I just know that it's one of those must reads for everyone. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this whole video and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!